Hey, this is Zack Tabudlo, and this is Artist Talks. Let's go. None of this was really expected. I remember starting the year off with just making music and releasing my originals. But me and my dad, we didn't really expect anything prior to that. So when Nangangamba came out a few months back, 2021, it wasn't really peaking yet, and we were just really happy with how the results got into with like different fans and like my solid fans from before. And then after a few months, when 2021 came in, Nangangamba kind of went viral on TikTok. And when I released Binibini a few months after, it kind of blew up. And that kind of started there. The peaks and everything, and like the new fans came in. But yeah, Nangangamba was pretty much the kickstarter of everything. And then Binibini just gave the boost, I guess, with all of my songs. And now I'm here. I'm making more music, releasing more music. I just released an album, and yeah, it kind of started there. Now I'm just releasing more music, I guess. Yeah, well, Nangangamba, I remember I wrote Nangangamba back in 2020, I think, before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
I was with a group of friends back then. They were my classmates, and then we kind of had this class back then. I think it was math class, if I can remember. This melody just popped into my head, and good thing there was ukulele lying around the back of the classroom, and that's where I kind of started the melody and everything. But the lyrics, sabihin mo na nilalaman ng puso mo. And there's this bit in the demo, like the very first demo that didn't really get the part in the release. But yeah, there's this demo that I think I also perform um, in live shows and everything. So that lyrics and like the melody overall kind of started in the classroom. And then I think a few weeks after we hung out again, and then I was like, okay, I need to finish this song. It's like it's getting me pumped every time I kind of open my phone. I remember the melody, I remember the lyrics. So when I got home that night, I finished Nangangamba in just an hour, and yeah, it kind of started there. When Nangangamba happened and all of these songs, I wasn't part of Island Records yet. I was with my old label, and my contract was about to end back then. So
Oh, I
we were
work. Okay.
yeah, we were just kind of waiting it out, and then yeah, Island approached me, Kuya Enzo Valdez, which is the managing director of MCA
Yeah,
Music,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, that's kind of what happened. Takes a lot of growing in terms of music and how you create your music, because like back then I was very young, and my kind of vision in terms of music and how I create these lyrics and how I guess I see experiences of life was very different because I was very young back then. But now growing into these phases of mine, and I guess growing out of the teenage part of my life, that was a big part of my writing and a big part of how I make my music as well, like production wise, how I mix everything. Because like every day, I'm in my studio, I create music, I look up to these big artists from new music as well, like Shawn Mendes, Ed Sheeran, Lainey, and a lot of these artists that I look up to. And the growth phase that I went through was I think the I guess key thing that kind of made a lot of people connect with the songs that I release now compared to before. But yeah, I think at the same time, my team is like 100% the reason as well. It kind of started with, I guess, growing with them as well with my music, is like the trust that they gave me going through Island Records. I was nobody. Nobody really listened to me. A few thousands listened to me, but the level that I guess I have now is very different from before. So like the trust and love and support they gave me all throughout my career so far with Island. The team has been really there for me, and like the push and everything, the plans are really in point, and why I think I'm here as well. It's because of the team. Yeah, well, I think it's kind of similar to other artists as well, but I think the main difference is just me being the producer and everything. Normally they would have a different producer, a different writer, or someone would like produce their own music but give it to another mixing and mastering engineer. The difference is I do everything, I guess. And yeah, I still do have my second opinions with my dad. He's kind of like the last person to check everything until now. There's this really big space that you can really have someone jump in and kind of have the final say in like everything, because like it's very different to have a second opinion or to have this ears outside of what you did. Like making music and producing for hours and hours can get really drowning, especially when you're a producer. Your ears get blocked. Mentally as well, it can get very drooling. So it's really a big help when someone barges in and kind of just helps you with like the finishing touches of it. So it's kind of like an icing on the cake or like a cherry on the top. But yeah, with like the creative process of everything, it really depends as well. Sometimes I would start off with lyrics, sometimes it would start off as melody, but yeah, it depends on the situation. But yeah. Yeah, well, again, it depends, because some tracks of mine would take just an hour or just a day to finish the whole thing, and then I would submit it to the label. And some tracks would take literally months or like weeks. And some tracks would also, I guess there's this, I guess, vision and feeling when you finish a song that it feels right to be released. And it all comes down to ears and like how you kind of envision the track outside of like releasing it and everything. So yeah, it depends as well. But sometimes it would take an hour, a day. Sometimes it would be a year. It depends. No, actually, it was a mixture of everything, because some of the tracks were written years ago. Some of the tracks were written for the album, and some tracks were actually super late into the game. So everything was kind of armed, and then I just changed my mind. I told the label, I need to change at least 4 of the tracks, and then let's do it. So yeah, some of the tracks were written back in 2020, 2019, I think, and some were written during the pandemic and during the lockdowns and everything. So yeah, it's a mixture. I was in school last year, so I took a break this semester. I think I'm coming back next semester, but it depends as well. Yeah, it's kind of like a struggle as well to kind of, I guess, have the priorities straight, especially now that music has been really going, really good. The fans are liking it, and everything's just really going good. So I think I can take a break with one semester and maybe test the waters, and maybe next semester I can come back again. So yeah, Binibini. Well, I wrote Binibini last year, I think. 2020, yeah, 2020. It was written for a past lover of mine. I was at the peak of my relationship. I was very happy, but unfortunately we had to kind of break it off because I was too young. We were both very young. My dad and like my parents actually are very strict with me having relationships back then, because of my age and like being young and all that. So we kind of had to break it off, but she was my Binibini, and that was the peak of love, I guess, in my high school life. With Darren, we've been friends for a while now. We've been good friends. We were batchmates in the Voice Kids. So I think back then we'd always talk about performing or writing a song for him, from me, writing a song for him and like producing for him in the future. And it kind of happened. I think, when was Tama Na released? I think it was released this year as well. So I wrote the song for Darren as well and produced it. It's called Tama Na. And yeah, it was always in the plans, I guess, like being friends, getting to chat with him and like trade some words. Yeah, Darren was a really good collaboration, I guess, for this year as well. It's kind of like a victory for the two of us. With Casey Tandingan, yeah, I've looked up to them. I feel like a lot of people have looked up to Ate Casey. She's such an amazing performer, hands down. Such a lovely and humble person as well. And I got to perform with her. It was my very first ASAP main stage performance when we performed my song Nangangamba. So that was really surreal. I think I watched that performance with my good friend Elia Guinaldo last week. We were just hanging out, and it kind of blew me away knowing that I got to perform with such an amazing artist with my song as well. So it's really crazy. Yeah, so with episode, it's actually based on personal experiences of mine and what I've went through uh during the pre-pandemic, I think. Yeah, pre-pandemic. I went through these phases in life that I was in my lowest of lows. A lot of people left, a lot of friends have left, relationships have been broken, and the growing phase and going through these stages were the representation of the album. And yeah, the title of the album, Episode, a lot of people ask that. So it's about episode, as we know, is mental illness. It's something that a phase that a mentally ill person go through. And with this album, and when I was going through those phases of going through episodes, I guess I was teased a lot of having these phases and these episodes. I would hear a lot from like past friends that here he is, here's Zack again with another drama, here he is again with another episode. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go through such an emotional drive, and being at your lowest isn't really healthy. So it's really sad, and I feel like the irony of it being the title of the album, I think gives such an impact to it as well. So I went with the episode album. So these are phases and stages that I went through. So with the recording process, it's kind of similar to everything that I pretty much released. It's me in my studio, mixing and mastering it, writing it in my studio as well. So yeah, I think it's the same with everything. I think we all go through, I think, a period of our lives where we get through these problems. We're getting through anxiety, getting through depression, and all this. And I feel like it's a normal thing, but at the same time, it's very we should be all aware of these illness. And yeah, it's a part of our growing phase as well. But it's actually very normal for me, I think. Yeah, writing the album and doing all these songs, releasing them have really helped me cope with all of this struggles that I've went through, I guess. So Para sa Mga Ex was also written around a couple of years ago. It was about an ex, obviously. So Para sa Mga Ex was just kind of releasing my inner thoughts towards this ex. I guess having the toxic relationship and not having the freedom to, I guess, release my inner thoughts was the struggle before. So I guess breaking up with her, breaking with that ex kind of gave me the freedom to express what I feel. So I wrote it in a song called Para sa Mga Ex. So with the music video, yeah, it's starred by James Reid. And I always say that it is such an honor to have worked with him. Especially he went through this 2-year break in acting, and my music video was kind of like the debut, I guess, of him coming back. I don't know if it's a debut though, but yeah, after 2 years, yeah, after 2 years, it's him coming back with the acting thing, and it just really shows how much of a pro and how much of an actor he really is when the cameras are on. So he's amazing. Oh heck yeah, definitely. James and I have been cooking something, so I think it's a secret for now, but it's definitely something to look forward to, I guess. Yeah, well, it was made by the one and only Chris Costello. So these themes of comic books, because I'm a very big comic fan, I'm a very big Marvel fan, especially specifically Spider-Man. I grew up watching a lot of Marvel movies, like TV shows, cartoons, and like drawing Spider-Man as well. So it was a big part of my childhood, and I guess representing it through the songs that I create. And until now, I have this kind of big glass cab full of toys of Marvel. So I think it was just the perfect fit to kind of put that reference into the songs that I create. I love Tobey's the most. Actually, I'm a big fan of Tobey Maguire and what he did with the Sam Raimi trilogy. But yeah, I think it's yeah, they have their differences. They kind of spark into a certain character. For example, Tobey did such a good, I guess, role with being Peter Parker. Tom Holland is kind of like a perfect, in terms of like age, I guess, and how he looks on camera, it fits perfectly as well. But with Andrew Garfield, he kind of nailed the the Spider-Man feel and kind of being geeky, very talkative when he swings around the city and stuff like that. So I think they have their differences and they shine the most in their own characters. It's actually very nerve-wracking. Like you saying it right now, it's a virtual thing, so it's very different from what we had back then. Of course, it's such an opportunity and such a big blessing to have a concert and being held and kind of like being pushed by my team, my label, Island Records and New Music. Yeah, not a lot of people and not a lot of artists get the opportunity to have their own concert. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I'm very excited because I get to, I guess, give the fans the live feel of it. A lot of people are missing concerts and gigs, so this is kind of one drawback and one click to them that here you go, here's a live performance of everything. I hope you feel the live environment that we had back then. Yeah, well, for that, I think it's a secret for now, but it's definitely something different from what I guess I did back then, because here's the thing, like I kind of started doing shows back then when I wasn't really, I guess, known with my music. People weren't familiar with my music before. So like I would do mall shows and there would be literally 10 people. And it would kind of be, I guess, drooling and kind of sad having to have this own show of yours and no one comes. And that's kind of like the scary part of it. But now having this, like I said, such a big opportunity and such a big field on where I can step on now. I have the listeners now, I guess the right listeners that are really solid and I love them so much. And at the same time, I got the team with me, behind me. So I think it's gonna be a good concert. So yeah. Something is in the works right now. But if we look back at the music videos, it's actually connected, so episode by episode. And there's this big finale that I think a lot of people should look forward to. But yeah, like I said, it's a secret for now. But the concert thing, yeah, it definitely has its connections with the episodes. So yeah, so with Elizabeth, I got to work with the one and only Cassie Legaspi. We've been friends for a while, so yeah, it was also in the talks of like me and her in the talks behind the camera. As friends, we always wanted to collaborate with each other with work, whether it's music or film or whatever it is. And yeah, I think it's just a blessing answered. We got to work with Elizabeth and I feel like she's the perfect Elizabeth. But yeah, like writing the song though, I think a lot of people know that Elizabeth was written for the one and only Elizabeth Soberan. So having this kind of I guess difference in terms of, obviously the person itself, it's not Liza, but yeah, there was kind of like a nerve-wracking stage of mine as well to kind of it's kind of like a double thought of thinking, would Cassie give justice to the character as Elizabeth? And the moment that I saw her on screen when we were doing the shoot, I just got goosebumps and everything just fit perfectly. She's the perfect Elizabeth, and I think no one can do such a better job than her. So it's just a perfect fit. Yeah, well, that's the weird thing about it. Until now, me and my dad would usually talk about it, but the feeling is kind of the same. I guess the big reason of it is because of the pandemic. So the atmosphere of everything. I mean, yeah, we're not really blind. We can see everything, naman. We can see like the results of everything, being like one of the top artists now in the Philippines. It's just surreal. It's definitely surreal. It's a very different feeling, but I don't know, man. It's just the same. Like everything feels the same. It's just, I know that a lot of people recognize my songs now compared to before. But like I guess one of the reasons as well is that I'm still in my roots as well. I'm living in the same roof with my dad and my mom, my stepmother, my sister, and kind of having that guidance along the way didn't really make me feel that, oh crap, this is happening. Like such a big thing is happening to me. Everything feels the same, just the same, like the moment I released Nangangamba back then, when it wasn't even noticed yet. So yeah, but the feeling is different when I go out. A lot of people take pictures with me now. It's very weird because like I have a mask on and also a face shield, so I have no idea how they recognize me. I think it's because of the hair, but anything else, it feels the same. That's the thing. I feel like it's just feeling and how the fans can connect to it. Like I said, with episode and everything that I released prior to episode, these are all based on personal experiences and real life experiences that I went through. So going through like a phase of going through crushes, getting my heart broken, getting a girlfriend, having friends, losing friends, and all of this kind of, I guess, represent the life of a teenager or just a person or like masa or everyone else in this world. We all go through it. So I think the universal effect of it and how I can write my songs through these experiences, a lot of people can connect to it. At the same time, like I said also earlier, that my music kind of evolves and I grow with it. So going through the years of working with different producers, working with different artists, I kind of learned bits by bits and stuff from them, that it kind of built this pyramid around me. And now I'm here making, more music. I'm still practicing. I'm still, I guess, trying to become better in terms of sound and everything. So yeah, it's just the relatableness. And I feel like a lot of people can connect to it compared to the songs I did back then. Hey, this is Zack Tabudlo. Please follow me on my social media pages. Just search up Zack Tabudlo. I got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You guys can just search up my name. And if you like this video, subscribe to OneMusicPH. Click the like button and click the bell for more OPM and exclusive content. See you guys.